name is Jack Washington, and I was an urban educator in an urban school district in New Jersey for over 40 years. Currently, I'm retired, and I want to share some of my thoughts with you. Over the years, I've watched my students grow, and I thought about how I could be of service and help to them. And over the years, I watched them and I thought and I looked and began to challenge them, challenge their minds and so forth. But as I challenged their minds, they challenged my mind. And I began to think. And I learned a lot from them. And as I began to learn, I learned a lot about the urban setting and the people who were charged to teach them. In many cases, I discovered that many of my colleagues weren't interested in educating them. They were just interested in placating them and keeping them right where they were. And it bothered me. Many of my colleagues were still using the same lesson plans, following along the same routine. Many of them did not seek to do any research. Many of them cared less. They came in pretty much just before it was time, that late, very much. Not all of them, many of them. And they left at 3 o'clock. Disinterested. And I was concerned about that. And it made me think about why they were there. And I thought about it. I said, why are you here? And I began to think and wonder. And I thought about it and I said, are you here to make a difference? I said, because you should. And interestingly enough, I went back, I returned to school, and I got my doctorate. And certain people said, well, you got your doctorate, maybe you ought to go and get yourself a nice high-paying job and make you some money. I said, no, that's not what it's all about. Well, go. And many of my friends had gotten their advanced degrees, and the first thing they did was they left. I said, no, I think I'll stay. And one of the things I did is I began to look and investigate and do research on urban school districts. And I found some interesting things out. And this was many, many years ago. And I wrote a book called White Collar Factory: Black Education in Urban America. Now you say, well, why would you call it White Collar Factory? I said, well, I'll tell you why. I said, many of my colleagues, when I looked upon them, I said they behaved and taught the kids as if they were in a factory. And they just pushed the kids along a conveyor belt, not giving a concern or care. I said, they were a factory and the kids were products, as he would have any factory. But I said a factory system would work better than the school. In a factory system, factory worker is a blue-collar worker. He would have a product, and he would have it going along a conveyor belt on an assembly line. And as he comes across the assembly line, he would remove the defective product and throw it in a bin. This product is no good, that's no good. And there would be someone inspecting the product and for quality control. That's in a factory system where there are checks and balances and control. Blue-collar worker. But a school system is like a factory system as well. The kids are our products. They would come in and they would move along the conveyor belt too. They have the same things that a factory system needs. All factories need in a factory system that is for profit needs promotion, production, profit. What I call the 3 P's to survive. First, you must have a product. Then you must promote that product. And that product must make you a profit to survive. In a blue-collar factory system, without either of those things, it will not survive. Now, if the factory system is failing or the product is defective, there's a recall mechanism. They will recall it and take it off the market entirely. The school system is perhaps producing one of the most important products that can be produced in life. The product that it produces are our children. It has a promotion system. It promotes our kids. It follows our kids along. But it only has 2 kids. Promotion and the products of our children. But they have no profit motive. So therefore, no real concern to continue to watch our kids move along a quality control check system. So therefore, whether the kid is successful or not is of no concern to them. And therefore the kids fall victim to failure. And therefore when they cannot read their diplomas, they fail and become a defective item. The difference between a blue-collar system and a factory system and a white-collar factory system is the lack of profit and therefore no recall system. That's why thousands of black kids in an urban community will pass through life unable to recall, unable to read their diplomas, but they will pass through society as a defective item. And there's no recall mechanism that will recall them and say, you're a defective item because you cannot read your diploma. A blue-collar factory worker will recall a defective item and take it off the market entirely. A white-collar factory, because the teacher wears a white collar to work, he wears a shirt and tie. That's why he has called a white-collar worker. He produces a product, its most important product in our life, which is the student. But he will not, that child will never be recalled to fix or repair that defective item, which is the ability or the inability to read his diploma the inability to do math, the inability to do science work. And because of that inability, he will pass through life under the white-collar factory system. The inability to recall them allows him to become a failure in life. And this is one of the major factors in urban communities. And it is this major factor that is a concern, or should be a concern, my good friends, to urban communities. That's why I wrote this book, White Collar Factory, Black Education in Urban America. This book was written over 20 years ago. I wrote it because I wanted people to understand that teachers should not just be teachers in the classroom, but they need to research, they need to think, they need to understand, they need to listen to the students, be able to grasp where they're coming from, and they need to impart their education to the students. They need to be about learning as they teach. Do research. When you're able to teach your children, you learn too. Learning isn't a one-way street. I learn from the children and they learn from me. And when students see that you're interested in learning, they learn from you. And they become excited about learning because they know that their teacher's excited about learning. And as a result of that, I wrote 5 books while I was in my classroom teaching my students. This is what education is all about. The teacher cannot just teach from the book, but the teacher must be able to teach with the book as he learns himself. Thank you very much.